And dude, if you're not careful in life, you'll start off as a pacer, but you'll wind up following someone else's pace. So before we roll out with today's episode, man, do me a favor. You power this show. I need you to subscribe, man, not only to the Sales Life, but also the Sales Life on YouTube as well. Subscribe to the channel. The mission this month, man, is to have 100 subscribers. And we're going to be on our way to 100,000. And then we're going to be on our way to 1 million. But we got to get to 100 first. So I need your help in subscribing to that. That way, man, you'll be able to archive, or you'll be able to see the library of all the different videos without having to go back through your feed. And sometimes, man, it's just a library that is there for you, so that way you can reference back to it in your time of need, whatever you're psychologically going through that day. But also, man, share this episode, and whatever your favorite episode is, share it with others. And of course, leave your comments, man. Always dig and appreciate your comments on that. So let's talk about your pace, man. And what is your pace? And is it your pace? Or are you following someone else's? See, a pacer is one that, you see this in races. And a pacer is one where he's out in front. And what he's doing is he's progressively setting the expectations of others to follow. And so as he's running along in the race, a pacer is never in the back. A pacer is always out front. And the ones who are following him aspire to get into his rhythm, to get into his cadence. And dude, if you're not careful in life, you'll start off as a pacer, but you'll wind up following someone else's pace. And you see this often in relationships. The pacer was the one who got up at 5 a.m., who 7 days a week, man, he was banging the weights, he was banging the cardio. And he was eating the foods, he was strict in his diet, strict about what he put into his body. But then he met his boo, and he falls to her pace. So he begins to eat out a little bit more, snuggle in a little bit later, and it goes from 7 days a week to maybe 2 days a week. He's pacing, and he's no longer the pacer. And because of that, man, the pants get tighter. The shirts get a little bit looser. And it seems like overnight, I'll be damned, I packed on 50 pounds. Or the pacer was one who had 6 months. She had 6 months worth of income in the bank. No debt, no credit card debt. But she really believes in his dream. He's an aspiring musician. He can't work, man, because he's, just in case one of the gigs calls, he's got to go. But if he goes, man, that old 86 Chevy he's got ain't gonna make it. And he don't have the credit. So he needs the pacer to buy a truck for him so he can get to his gigs. Someday he's gonna get here, baby. I promise you. And of course, if he's gonna get new gigs, man, he's gonna need new equipment. But because he's not working, man, because he's got no gigs, he can't afford any equipment. So if you could loan me some money for that too. And a year later, she's left with a truck note and a mountain of debt and broke. See, you let yourself go because you lost your pace and started following someone else's. And you do this, bro, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your wellness, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your career. You have to remember this, man. You got to be the face of your pace. So like a runner in a race, man, bro, you got to always know your pace. And it's not always about being out in front. It's more so being in control of your progression. Because, dude, there are going to be days that you get smoked and nothing is going your way. But see, if it's on those tough days, man, that you have to always, no matter how bad the situation is, man, you still got to be the pacer. And you don't slow down to the whining and to the excuses, not from yourself or anybody else either. You work your ass off to get your battle rhythm back and start inching your way back into the lead again. But being the pacer is lonely, bro. Being the one out in front, when oftentimes there's no one around. And because you're the one setting the pace every day, it gets lonely. See, most people can't keep up with you because you're the pacer. But oftentimes what'll happen is somebody will catch up with you. Not to adjust to your pace, but in hopes that you'll slow down to theirs. And the natural default setting is always revert, aka reverse. It's lonely, bro, getting up at 5 a.m., setting your pace, carving into your future while everybody else sleeps in, man. It's tough to show up in sales and be the pacer. See, the tendency is to follow the pace of the store. So if there's tension, you'll have tension. If it's slow, you'll slow. And most people rise and fall to the rhythm of the market versus just seeing the market as an opportunity. Doesn't matter what the situation is, the immediacy of the situation. That part don't matter. See, most rise and fall to the rhythm of the market. But what the pacer does is he just sees the market as an opportunity. And he relentlessly sets the pace. So when it comes to your career, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your creatives, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your wellness, be the face of your pace. That way you'll never fall behind again, nor let yourself go, because you're the one setting the pace. Besides, if you slow to someone else's pace, you'll fall to their results. All right, let's wrap up with today's TSL bullets, man. Let's put some bullets in your gun. First question is, got to be real with yourself, man. Every day, man, in your relationships, your finances, your health, your career, just your overall day, man. Are you setting the pace or are you following the pace? Number two is, when do you have the tendency to lose your pace and slow to someone else's? It's just an awareness, man. See, if you can, number one, ask yourself the question of the pace. Whose pace am I following? Number two is, when you spot that, know your tendencies. When things stop going my way, I have a tendency to follow someone else's pace. That's the tough part, man. Is, can you maintain your pace, your progression, even though some days you're losing? Of course you can. But you got to be careful what you're surrounding yourself with. And you also have to be aware of whose pace you're in, yours or theirs. Remember, never settle. Keep selling your way through life, no matter what.